Example of just how disturbing I find this older daughter of Doug Benefield, who is not a victim. She is an alleged victim. Now, Emerson Benefield is a victim because she has injuries and evidence that her father did that to her. Eva, as far as I know, was never abused by her dad, but she's very jealous of little Emerson. But Eva claims to be a victim, even though in the United States of America, when you are a defendant in a trial of any kind, you are innocent until proven guilty. So if a jury finds that they don't accept the state's refusal to give her immunity from self-defense, if they acquit her, then she's not a victim. She's actually more of a conspirator, because when she has this little video on her TikTok, she talks about how quickly her mother and her father, both her parents are dead, and oh, but hey, I've got some merch for sale. I mean, she doesn't talk about how sad she is, how she misses her parents. She just starts talking about her merch for sale. So this person says, this is Izzy Mariel, said, did she take down the one that had a t-shirt talking about her videos that made something like, my dad got murdered and all I got was this t-shirt? I mean, she's making memes out of her own father's death. And of course, in selling her merch, she's hiding from the fact that there's a text message from her mother, Renee Benefield, may she rest in peace, who was murdered, very possibly murdered, in the same fashion that he tried to kill Ashley, because Ashley had lab reports. That's part of court record. Just because she didn't have the ability to prove that he's the one that put those toxins in her body doesn't mean she wasn't poisoned. But this mother of hers was perfectly healthy until she suddenly took sick, and then 12 or 13 days after she was trying to leave her father, Doug Benefield, she's found dead. Now, maybe she never witnessed her father abusing her, but if you look at the text message of Renee Benefield, who speaks from the grave, Renee Benefield is a victim because she was never recognized as a victim of domestic violence, and her own text messages said that he kicked her on their honeymoon. He lied to her about who and what he was, just like he conned Ashley to thinking he was this rich guy and, and gonna fulfill her dreams of being a ballerina and open up this company for her. They just want to spend all this stuff to make money. This daughter has no respect for baby Emerson, and you can see the pictures where this baby's mouth is all bloody on the inside. She's got blue all around her mouth and nose, and she's got strangulation bruises all around her neck. It's horrific. Then you got a picture of her daddy holding her by her leg upside down in a very rough manner while he's screaming. A very psychotic, crazy, scary picture. And then you see those images of that poor little baby's face and mouth and throat with all those bruises around it. It's scary. And this young lady, all she cares about is merch. So here's what she got in trouble over today, or the other day. So it wasn't, I don't know why they're presenting it like her TikTok videos was the issue. They did play her TikTok video that there was two different things that she was brought into court over. And it wasn't just her TikTok video. Okay, it was her talking to the media in the hallway, and she plays this innocent, like, well, I was under extreme emotion disturbance from the different things that was being said in the court, so yeah, I talked to the media, but you weren't supposed to talk to the media. Just saying, I can't talk to you and move on. The media knows that she was given a subpoena. She was told, you are still under subpoena, you cannot talk to anybody about this case. When you're a witness subject to recall, you cannot talk to the media. And yet there she was in the hallway talking to the media. Now I'm sure she's waiting and hoping for book deals and movie deals, and that's all fine, because well, you did lose your mother, but you're not acknowledging what happened to your mother. You're not acknowledging that she was abused when she was. You're denying your mother being recognized as a domestic violence, abuse victim, which is very cringy. That's not very loving towards your mommy. And then she is denying that her stepmother was abused. And then she's denying that her baby sister was an abuse victim. I'm like, there's no possible way for a baby to have the blood pulled to turn her entire upper lip on the inside purple, to have all that blood pulled there and blue all around her mouth when there's no abrasions on the outside. I mean, if you fall and you hit your mouth, and that would, no, that type of bruising, get somebody who's an expert in here. People, please raise some money for this woman. There's only one way to have that kind of bruising on that baby's mouth and all the way around her nose and her mouth and inside her gums like that, is because he held his hand over her nose and mouth, and while the bruises are on her neck, all the way around her neck, he had her in a chokehold. And probably, who knows why, probably because what, she was crying and he flipped his lid. Dude had problems, right? And so only unless she's convicted and then doesn't win on appeal with these egregious things that they're doing in this system, only then is this young lady here a victim of her father's death. Because if her father is found by the jury to have caused this woman to be in a self-defense position, just because the judge didn't, reject the state's their claim that there was evidence of second-degree murder, they only went by what the state presented, prima facie case. So it's subject to the jury. So it's not been proven that she's not it wasn't self-defense. I think people are getting confused about that. So this young lady is just trying to make money, and I'm like, okay, you are in college, you're a very bright young lady. I'm sure that, you can make money without having to hide things from the public. It's very deceptive to hide things. If she wants to talk about, her case, but if you're going to ride off of what the state is doing and they're hiding things, and you're going to conspire to hide the abuse done to your baby sister, well, then you're not a victim. You are a co-conspirator of crimes of hiding and suppressing evidence of abuse, and you should be treated like that. You shouldn't be coddled. You shouldn't be treated like, oh, you poor thing. No, don't coddle her. She's hiding evidence of her baby sister's abuse. Emerson's the victim. Now, when Emerson grows up and she gets old enough to get on TikTok, then y'all go give her some sympathy, because she really is a victim. She was beat the crap out of by being a toddler, a baby, right? Now, I don't know if Emerson will ever remember that. I pray that she will never have those memories, but you never know. But the fact of the matter is, Renee's body, until it's exhumed, is a victim. She's a victim by her text message that showed very clearly she was a domestic violence abuse victim. Whether or not she ever sought charges against Doug is one thing, but it doesn't mean that Renee wasn't a victim. Renee is the mother of this lady here on TikTok, Eva. Eva was named after her grandmother, which would be her mother's mother. And I am most certain that her now passed away grandmother, Eva, would not want her daughter's death to go unquestioned, especially with the text messages showing that there was violence going on, and 12 days later she suddenly takes sick and is dead, until the FBI commands that tests are done on her to rule out the very same toxins that was in Ashley's body. She has no justice. And for Eva, Renee's mother, I think respect needs to be given, that her daughter, Renee, is much right to justice and equality, and to have her death investigated, and to have those toxins tested to make sure that he didn't poison her, just like he tried to do to Ashley, even though she didn't have the ability to prove who put those toxins in her body. But these DAs, all they care about is getting another conviction under their belt, and they already have themselves the idea that we're going to spin this story about this swan, this black swan, we're going to sell this story, and then we can get her convicted. We're going to sell books about how they convicted. That's what DAs do. They get in these famous cases, infamous trial cases, and then they sell books. And then they become famous DAs and they climb up the political ladder and blah, 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 on it goes. They don't care about justice. Because if they cared about justice, they wouldn't be lying to the jury and saying there was no evidence of abuse. There's no possible way for that baby to have those bruises on its face. Okay? There's no way to sit there and ignore the text message from Renee Benefield. Shame on them. And this Miss Eva TikTok lady, yeah, she needs to stand up for her mama. She needs to acknowledge that her mom was an abuse victim. And she needs to acknowledge and love her baby sister, even though she resents her and didn't want her. She's still her flesh and blood. She's still half her sister, and she needs to recognize that her baby sister was an abuse victim. She needs to own that. She needs to get therapy and just reconcile that, it's okay if you are a daughter of a man who had rage problems. It's okay, but you need to deal with it instead of hiding it and trying to sell merch off of lies. So yeah, they got her today.